Howdy! This is part 1 of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Iceberg. Some of the items in this iceberg parallel to some aspects of my previous iceberg, the more general Pokemon Iceberg Explained, for reference. Brought to you by Clean Casual.
I am! Since when did I become a Squirtle?
The Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series has spanned a multitude of games, from the series debut of Red and Blue Rescue Team in 2005 to its revitalization in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX in 2020. This iceberg was created by Koredan, my apologies for the pronunciation, on Reddit. Some aspects were inspired by icebergs created by Bugcatcher Will and Gel Orange, also from Reddit. The original creator also wanted it to be noted that this iceberg contains spoilers for the entire series. Additionally, this iceberg may have some triggering topics. Some subjects have been combined and some additional points have been added. Level 1. The Sky. 1. Lucario rank. In Pokemon Red and Blue Rescue Team, the highest rank attained for a rescue team is Lucario rank. This is the first and only rank to denote a Pokemon in name. Add to this Generation 4 Pokemon had not been properly introduced yet, a point we will explore later, further adding to the mystery surrounding it. Alakazam, leader of the famed Gold Rank Rescue Team ACT, note, their team name is only mentioned in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Team Go-Getters Out of the Gate and Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. This Alakazam claims that Lucario is the greatest explorer ever. Perhaps so much so that he comes from an entirely different continent in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon world. And that is the reason Riolu and Lucario aren't recruitable yet, because they are not native to that continent. Upon reaching an entirely new and potentially undiscovered continent of Pokemon that had no idea that the other did not exist, spurred the creation of this new rank for the one who literally went where no one else had before. 2. Mount Bristle's Treasure. In Pokemon Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky, Drowsy kidnaps the small child, Azurill, in order to reach the treasure of Mount Bristle. Allegedly, the treasure is located through a small opening that Azurill should be able to fit through. What kind of treasure is it, and why would it drive another Pokemon, Drowsy, to mislead and kidnap a child over it? A. It's a trove of money or rare items. Perhaps the hole opens up into a stored treasure trove. We know that fugitive Pokemon exist, so why couldn't there be a veritable pirate's trove hidden away? B. It's a time gear. But why would Drowsy steal it? It's noted that not even criminal Pokemon mess with them due to the havoc it would bring. As a psychic Pokemon, Drowsy could be under the influence or is being paid by Dusknoir to acquire it for him. Add to this the player character's ability, the Dimensional Scream, which comes in hand and shows many instances for the time gear and the events leading up to saving the world. Could it be a time gear that links the two? C. It was all just a rumor. Most likely, it was all just a rumor. Many have gone after tales of treasure, following leads and dead ends for years. If there really was treasure there, the notion of which sets your partners alight with intrigue, why doesn't your team or someone else investigate it properly? A simple pop in and out of a Diglett could solve the mystery once and for all. Simply put, it was investigated, and it is but a tall tale spread over the years. D. There's nothing there. Drowsy himself was lured. As expanded upon later in this iceberg, perhaps there are ulterior powers at play that wanted Drowsy to meet the player. Later in the story, after Drowsy is redeemed and wants to make up for what he did to scare Azurill, he is the one that transports the player into the nightmare, where they meet Darkrai, who wants to destroy them, and who we learn was the true mastermind behind all of the events of the game. perhaps this was always the final plan. 3. Sunflora x Loudred, because of course. A popular fan theory is the speculated closeness of Sunflora and Loudred in the Time, Darkness, and Sky games. Sunflora is female and Loudred is male. While the pair seem to have a more rocky relationship in the beginning, with Sunflora making jabs at the outspoken and hasty Loudred, more is chronicled in the main storyline in the special episode Today's Oh My Gosh. From ridicule and disdain to forgiveness and a relatively close relationship. One entry reads, "Oh my gosh, that silly Loudred. Oh, he can be so absent-minded. Everyone knows that if you get totally wiped out in a dungeon, you lose some items. And all or half your money. But of course that silly Loudred forgot all that and goes storming off into the dungeon. And that wound up making us both wipe out. So I got sent back to the guild too. Eek! So frustrating. Oh my gosh, I never ever want to go to a dungeon with Loudred again." Another reads, "When I got into trouble because of all this, it was Loudred who saved me. Thank you, Loudred. The other time I yelled at him, I said, 'Oh my gosh, Loudred, I never want to go exploring with you ever again.' But eek! Am I ever sorry for saying that? I take back everything nasty I said. I wonder if he would go to a dungeon with me ever again. I think I will go apologize to him sincerely tomorrow. Yes, that's what I'll do. I'm sorry, Loudred. I hope we can keep on being teammates." Fans of this theory may be sad to note that they do not share an egg group. 4. Leitmotifs. There are various leitmotifs throughout the series. For reference, a leitmotif is a recurrent theme throughout a musical or literary composition associated with a particular person, idea, or situation. As expanded on best by 8-Bit Music Theory in his video, what makes a good leitmotif? Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Time, Darkness, Sky. The aforementioned series has several portions that can be broken down into 3 key leitmotifs: Darkness, Time, and Sky. The unique musical inflections, such as the dropping a minor third and then shooting up a seventh, creates a unique, attention-grabbing tune that stands out from the general ambient music, and tunes that, while seeming entirely different, denote a linking familiarity between the situations musically by highlighting the thematic importance of the scene or discovery at hand. Listening to the scores, Growing Anxiety, I Saw Something Again, and Planet's Paralysis, as 8-Bit Music Theory utilizes, helps demonstrate this link. The recurrent theme and strains from the very beginning of your adventure to the seeming close and your potential erasure from existence serves to bring you all the way back to that initial time and everything you've accomplished since. 5. Dungeons are caused by natural disasters. Multi-story dungeons are created by natural disasters that are so powerful that they change the natural topography of the Earth itself. These dungeons are everywhere, from the oceans to the tallest mountains and everywhere in between. In each game, the disasters all seem to become more frequent, coinciding with a plot device of each game, such as the time gears. But what is causing each specific location to have a complete shift in topography, though? Simply put, the legendary Pokemon. Revered for their power and outright feared by some, legendary Pokemon can easily cause these natural disasters at the drop of a hat. Zapdos and Articuno think that you are a trespasser and are, in part, the cause of the events changing elements of the world, and it is their icy storms and lightning intensifying the natural phenomena of each of their locales, rendering them borderline uninhabitable, even perhaps for the Pokemon native to that region. Imagine an elemental god, blinded by confusion and rage, wreaking havoc upon the lands they live in. Who can stop them? While some of the Pokemon found within are thieves and are trying to use the mayhem to escape, what of the others? Perhaps the other denizens were just Pokemon naturally in the area, but due to the extreme stress brought on by the disaster, coupled with a lack of food or water depending on the dungeon, the Pokemon enter a more feral, primal state in order to survive and protect themselves and their environment. 6. Xatu is ticklish. Xatu is a powerful psychic-type Pokemon that is not only capable of telepathically announcing to everyone a far distance away that a falling star is headed toward the planet, he is also able to see the future. How does the player acquire some of his knowledge? By tickling him, of course. Upon his stoic unresponsiveness, the player has the option to either tickle or attack him. Both choices ultimately result in him revealing who he is and imparting what he has seen to the player. 7. The sixth time gear. The sixth time gear is referring to a potential detail in Time and Darkness where the partner mentions a time gear being found in a volcano, as well as it being featured on the title screen. Fans speculate about what happened to the sixth time gear and why it was never seen in-game. It could potentially be assumed that there were several time gears scattered through the world, but only 5 were necessary to bring to Temporal Tower. After all, each time a time gear is removed, time and its jurisdiction stops completely. And since Treasure Town and all the other areas we visit are still fine, even after Grovyle takes 5 of them, clearly there are time gears still working. Add to this the other various continents that each game takes place on, it stands to reason that there may be far more. Just removing 5 of these goes to show the true fragility of life and the concept of time in this world. 8. Gates DLC. The 3DS Pokemon Gates to Infinity was the first to introduce DLC to this series. One dungeon, the Poke Forest, sees the player move about sleeping Pokemon, collecting as much money as they can without waking them. What an odd concept. Why is it here? Are you actively stealing? A. These Pokemon are all bandits, and this is their hideout. You are merely taking back money that is already stolen. B. You are the true thief, taking advantage of tired Pokemon, their homes destroyed, with all of their money, not being safely kept in the Persian bank, left about them as they sleep. Like similar dungeons, Ultimate Wilds is a 99-floor dungeon that resets players' level to 5. The ability to weaken the life force of a Pokemon, particularly while present in this dungeon, suggests an incredibly powerful force or creature that is able to distort reality or otherwise erode one's strength while in proximity to it. How and why do the wild Pokemon survive there? Or are they now simply too weak to leave? Them attacking you is just an attempt to get an escape orb or badge from you so that they are able to escape and are not left there for eternity. These new dungeons can be interpreted as 1. Being newly discovered in universe, 2. Continuing to be created due to dire natural disasters despite you saving the day, or 3. Represent a fundamental man or Pokemon created element breaching into the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon world. 9. Statues in Red-Blue Rescue Team. As a reward for completing certain deeds in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red and Blue Rescue Team, the player can receive 4 statues of otherwise unobtainable 4th generation Pokemon: Bonsly, Lucario, Mime Jr., and Weavile. The Pokemon are now known and available in future interactions and iterations of the series, but not in this one. So why do they make up the statues? Lucario is known as the best explorer, and the statue is obtained after receiving the Lucario rank, which makes sense. The Bonsly statue is obtained by defeating all 21 mini-dungeons at the Makuhita training ground. The Mime Jr. is obtained from doing one of 2 rare star leveled missions in a long 99-floor dungeon. Once you have completed them, you will be given the Mime Jr. statue as a reward. The Weavile statue is similarly obtained from doing one rare starred level mission in a long 99-floor dungeon. Once you have completed them, you will receive it as well. Perhaps, like Lucario, these unknown Pokemon not native to the current continent and world you reside in are representative of you accomplishing something new and previously unknown, being symbolic in nature. Perhaps, similar to Lucario, each Pokemon depicted has a link to the trial completed. A powerful Mime Jr. obliterating a star-leveled mission is both amusing and terrifying. 10. The anime and manga. Various written works with near-identical or otherwise deviating plotlines to the games have been created, such as Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Genjin's Rescue Team, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blazing Exploration Team, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time and Darkness manga, and Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon Go For It! Novice Investigation Team. The series has additionally received a small selection of animated episodes and short films, such as Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Team Go-Getters Out of the Gate, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time and Darkness, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky Beyond Time and Darkness, and Pokemon Dungeon animated shorts. Each incarnation features different player characters, or humans that had been transformed into Pokemon. A curious fact, given that the Pokemon the player is based off of their personality. The presence of these alternate timelines suggests that deviations are possible and exist alongside the main one in the main games. Could the events of the game be accomplished by a different hero, perhaps similarly selected as being the prime candidate of the reality in which they exist? Or perhaps we see many unsuccessful timelines, and the universe is constantly reset, with another hapless human forced into the being of a Pokemon for, hopefully, a more successful attempt at solving the calamity currently afflicting the world. 11. Destiny Tower. Destiny Tower is a dungeon in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. Only the team leader may be brought in at level 1. Items and money cannot be brought into this dungeon, and no Pokemon can be recruited. In addition, all IQ skills have no effect, essentially making Reviver Seeds unusable as they require the IQ skill Item Master to work. Traps will remain hidden even if the leader attempts to reveal them with a regular attack, and the Pokemon cannot be rescued when defeated. This dungeon is unlocked Spinda's Cafe Juice Bar by randomly drinking beverages. Akin to the future Ultimate Wilds DLC from Gates to Infinity, how and why is your power so restricted? Why must you go alone? And why are there so many other restrictions upon entering this dungeon? Perhaps this dungeon confuses your mind, in a sense, similar to the dizzy Spinda at the cafe that gives you access to this dungeon. The reason you cannot bring anyone else is because, just like the other Pokemon therein, you might attack them too. After all, you lost the ability to use your IQ skills. Perhaps you really aren't completely in control of your own faculties. At the top of this dungeon, Destiny Tower Pinnacle, a statue of Arceus, with its designation as the creator of Pokemon, is at the top. In Super Mystery Dungeon, a connection with Arceus can actually be made here. Against Arceus, who wouldn't look like a mewling child and capable of grasping the world about them? 12. The Other Swap Cauldrons. In Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky, Krogunk will open up the Krogunk Swap Cauldron. By putting items into this purple goo-filled cauldron, the player will receive another item in return. According to Krogunk, it may come from a Pokemon in town. Does this mean that there are other cauldrons of this mysterious liquid to trade? And after graduating from the guild, why don't we gain access to it, instead having to go all the way back to Krogunk's and the guild? Furthermore, how do they teleport or trade the items therein? Is there some form of portal that links them? Or do they simply trade supplies physically at some point during the day and deposit them into the goo? 13. Diglett's feet. In a line of dialogue, Diglett mentions his feet feel like they're walking on air, much to the shock of the surrounding Pokemon. What lies under the surface of Diglett and Dugtrio has long been speculated, but we get confirmation that he does in fact have feet. What kind are still up for debate. Level 2, the tip. 14, the wind/unseen force. Players can be forcefully expelled from a dungeon, being blown out by an unseen force if they spend too much time on any given dungeon floor. 3 warning messages appear, warning the player of the coming event. Quote, something stirring, then, it's getting closer, followed by, it's right nearby, it's gusting hard. Failure to reach the stairs and continue will result in being blown out by an unseen force, resulting in a mission failure. Other than an anti-camping measure, what could its purpose or story be in-game? Is this some malevolent force, now able to detect and triangulate you once you enter its dungeon, getting closer when you stay in one area for too long? 15. Secret rank. After rescuing Scizor from Crevice Cave, you are granted the Secret rank, which unlocks additional secret dungeons: Shimmering Desert, Mount Avalanche, Giant Volcano, Mystery Jungle, World Abyss, Sky Stairway, and Bottomless Sea. These more difficult, dangerous locations normally feature restrictions in far-off locales. Rare, legendary Pokemon commonly reside at these locations, making for an additional challenge. Were these secret dungeons intentionally hidden or lost from the map, as Crevice Cave was when explorers and other Pokemon went missing, never to return again? When Pokemon actively reside in areas where powerful legendary Pokemon reside, like Zapdos, what is so dangerous that the maps were unceremoniously hidden or destroyed, and are you ready to handle what lies within? 16. Bidoof caused the events of explorers. As is learned in the side story, Bidoof's Wish, he asked for friends, and just like that, 2 new kids joined the guild, which implies that Bidoof's wish indirectly caused the protagonist to lose his memory and transport to the Pokemon world, leading to the entire events of the game. Bidoof finds out about Star Cave, the rumored resting place of Jirachi, a mythical Pokemon with wish-granting abilities. Upon defeating and waking Jirachi, he recites his wish. Bidoof originally wanted to become the greatest explorer ever, but instead wishes for new apprentices to become friends with and whom he can guide. Perhaps, as a merging of the 2 wishes, the initial one that was never fully released, resulted in them becoming the greatest explorers ever, and him helping and befriending them along the way. Bidoof's desire for friends and an adventure to match so strong it would additionally bring them together. Jirachi had just been woken from a slumber after all. So, was that the cause of the side effects of the wish, such as the events set in motion of time stopping and primal Dialga? Was a cataclysmic event what it really took for Bidoof to forge true friendships? Or perhaps, was Bidoof's chronic bad luck to blame, somehow powerful and pervading enough to distort the already incredible powers of the Wishmaker Jirachi? 17. Combined box art of Red and Blue. In both the originals and the remakes of Red and Blue Rescue Team, the box art between the 2 shows an obvious link, with one rescue team looking up, out of a hole, and the others looking down into it, seemingly at one another. While the remakes seem less dire, the Pokemon around them seem more friendly and not possessed or dangerous. Could this joint artwork be a direct nod to the multiple dimensions or congruously running stories? Players can join others in dungeons, with each linked game following the same human-to-Pokemon world-saving storyline. Assuming these both depict successful storylines wherein the world was saved, does this also imply those whose worlds fell? 18. Genderless legendaries having genders. Legendary and mythical Pokemon, according to the mainline games, are genderless and unable to breed. However, in the Mystery Dungeon games, these same Pokemon are given genders and are directly referenced throughout the games. Upon repeated interaction with female Celebi, she blushes, commenting on how she doesn't have special feelings for Grovyle. The Manaphy that is hatched is also distinguished as being a male. The list goes on and on. Could it be that these Pokemon are actually unable to breed in the human Pokemon world and instead are capable of reproducing only in their more natural habitat or dimension? After all, there are quite a few animals in our world which have great difficulty or seem otherwise incapable of breeding in captivity or without certain conditions being met. 19. Connected Map and Super. Both Super Mystery Dungeon and Red and Blue Rescue Team share the same map wherein events can take place on the air continent. Additionally, Super shares all of the other game's continents. The grass continent of Time, Darkness, and Sky, the mist continent of Gates, the brand new water continent that it hosts, as well as the new and old Sand, Sea of Wonders, and Mystery continents. Finally, all maps connect. Previously, subsequent games did not share these locales save for the Sea of Wonders and a few. What has occurred? The continents all seem to host their own unique fauna and civilizations, so it appears that the multi-continental purely Pokemon world has established a proper means of travel and communication not previously attainable in prior or past games. 20. Recruiting Kecleon. In Pokemon Red and Blue Rescue Team, an incredibly specific set of circumstances must occur in order to recruit Kecleon. Despite not being a legendary Pokemon, it is a hard fight to get one. In order to recruit one, you must shoplift. Yes, you must shoplift from one of its stores in a dungeon. Then, the following will happen. The music changes. All wild Pokemon become hostile towards you. Kecleon is at double speed. Kecleon starts to create clones of itself to come after you and calls upon other Kecleon. And escape orbs are rendered useless and are disabled. Additionally, you must have its friend area, Overgrown Forest, unlocked. And it is recommended that you are between the levels of 90 to 100 because Kecleon is level 90. Now, keep defeating the Kecleon that attack you until one decides to join you. It has a recruit rate of 0.1% with the friend bow at this point, which is a must if you have any hope of recruiting it. Note, if you have recruited every other non-legendary Pokemon and go to Wish Cave, you could use your wish to get a Kecleon, as there are now no other Pokemon to choose from when wishing at that point. Now, why is a normal, non-legendary Pokemon so much hassle to acquire, and why does it have such abnormally high stats? Throughout the games, Kecleon are the shopkeepers, even found chilling and dangerous out-of-the-way dungeons that are hazardous for even the most powerful of rescue teams. They're a bit of a joke in the mainline games, stat-wise. Have they been bestowed with some minor deity-like power in these games? Or perhaps no Kecleon wants to join you. After all, with a grip on the financial commerce of the entire continent, why would they need a rescue team's help? Perhaps they sell to both good and bad Pokemon, a la black market deals set up in these dungeons. In fact, they're the only ones willing to sell to these sometimes desperate Pokemon. Thus, they are avoided by all, unless they inadvertently steal. Stealing from a Kecleon shop, which may mean they will no longer service that area, poses a true threat to its denizens, inciting their rage as they chase you down. The Kecleons themselves have plenty of money and resources to teleport in their extra fellows for security as well. 21. Similarities between Hidden Land and Dark Future. The Hidden Land is the eventual dark future and the point from which time stops. the home of the temporal tower, it already crumbles in the distance, the floating stones a direct correlation to the ones seen in the dark future. Time has already begun to stop and crumble. Add to this the mirrored maps, and we know that we are in the epicenter of the hidden lands the entire time. If this is what the lands directly about Primal Dialga are like, what of the rest of the world? 22. WiiWare Mystery Dungeon games. The less well-known Mystery Dungeon incarnations, the WiiWare games, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Let's Go Blazing, Stormy, or Light Adventure Squads. They were released only in Japan in 2009. The visuals are the same 3D models as My Pokemon Ranch and the Pokemon Rumble series. These are the only Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games to have separate dungeons for each version. Each version features 15 unique dungeons and, when all combined, equal 45 unique dungeons, which is up to the standard of other Mystery Dungeon games. 23. Arceus saves the Pokemon of Dark Future. In the Darkness, Time, and Sky games, it is assumed through various dialogue that the Pokemon from the Dark Future timeline all died or were otherwise erased. The protagonist even glows, about to disappear before being brought back. Dialga says it was not him, but something much more powerful than him. Arceus, perhaps. But what of Grovyle and the others? It is assumed that Dialga from the main timeline restores theirs, the Dark Futures, and they exist as a parallel time until the events of Super, in which both are merged together to negate possible temporal conflicts. Could Arceus not have interfered far earlier, stopping Dialga and Darkrai? Countless Pokemon lives were lost prior to this. Were they similarly restored, or do they remain dead, a result of a careless god? 24. Humans are extinct. The Pokemon are outright shocked to learn that the player character was once a human, and no actual human is seen throughout the series. Could this be that humans are extinct, allowing the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon world and all of its natural wonders to reclaim the land, establishing stores, currency, and their own form of society in its place? For that matter, what happened to the humans? Did N finally have his way? Or did the Pokemon revolt, killing their masters? Or, perhaps, humans just don't exist in that world or the many continents shown. Perhaps much farther away, and the path there is undiscovered, like the Akavir in the Elder Scrolls. Finally, the human and Pokemon world could be separated by dimensions, and no human has ever gotten past this. Is this the realm of the unknown that Arceus protects? 25. Badges are escape orbs. A common theory is that the badges given to rescue teams are escape orbs. Escape orbs teleport the user and their team out of the dungeon. So too does the Explorer Team badge, once it is held up to the Pokemon being saved. 26. Gardevoir and Medicham formed Team Charm. A popular theory that has circulated is that Gardevoir of Team Charm is the same Gardevoir from Red and Blue Rescue Team that was the Pokemon of Gengar and lost her memories, and Medicham is the former member of Team Meanies, Gengar's former team. Together, they formed Team Charm after the events of the first game as a way to do more good in the world, and are later joined by Lopunny. 27. Gardevoir's Secret Council. In the dream leading up to Sky Tower, Gardevoir mentions that we sought out a hero and found you, the player, and this group was apparently responsible for selecting you and watching you to ensure you save the Pokemon world. People theorize that the voices that give the personality quiz and talk to you as you fade away are other unseen members of this council, and speculate as to whether they are Pokemon, humans, some unseen higher power, or other possibilities. The voice you hear at the end of the game implies that there's more to it than just Gardevoir's spirit, and there's an entire hidden league of other Pokemon or other beings that are trying to protect the world. At this point, is there a council that can communicate telepathically with spirits, Or is it comprised of the spirits of deceased Pokemon, ever looking over the world they left behind? Level 3, Under the Surface. 28. Gone Pebbles. Upon the completion of Time, Darkness, and Sky, the ability of the Gone Pebbles changes and, upon use, the screen goes dark as the text reads, "That reminds me, my friend. It's been a while since I've heard anything. I wonder how my friend is doing." And then, Pokemon fought back tears. Pokemon is set to endure. As you are now able to utilize the enduring status, surviving a devastating hit. The nostalgic feel that pervades the stone reminds the player of the one that is gone, your friend, Grovyle. Other than their nostalgic feel, is there anything special about the pebble? The Gone Pebble is one of many look-alike items with strange powers. The Oran Berry deals damage, unlike its counterpart, the Oran Berry. The Revisor Seed revives a Pokemon, then the Pokemon faints with laughter. Do these strange items appear as a result of the fracturing timeline, the two dimensions creating a rift of altering existence? 29. Color borders based off gender. In Explorers of Sky, a male rescue team leader features a blue border to dialogue boxes, and a female, likewise, sports a pink one. Other than presenting a gender-based color for game aesthetics, could this have other implications in-game? Is the hue through which other characters interpret your words and actions similarly colored by the aura of the words coming from one character and not another? 30. Sky retcons Dialga's abilities. The special episode of Dialga seems to retcon Dialga's abilities. Thus, the main timeline Dialga and future Dialga contradict each other. Future Dialga says he couldn't have revived the Pokemon of the future, stating that your revival was due to a being more powerful than himself, potentially a nod to Arceus. However, present Dialga himself revived you after your own erasure. What I can figure is that future Dialga may have been weakened to where he wouldn't have been able to perform the task himself, but at the same time, he said it was beyond his power, not that he wasn't strong enough at the time. What is happening here? Digging a little deeper, it doesn't actually contradict itself, and instead implies that it was not Arceus' doing after all. When you beat present Dialga, you basically cut off the timeline you originated from, so you cease to exist. Present Dialga still exists though, so he's able to pull you out of the future timeline before it disintegrates completely. Future Dialga cannot save the future timeline though, because he is a part of that timeline and will cease to exist with it. In other words, all future Pokemon, the player and Dialga included, will no longer exist because the future is being stopped from occurring. Future Dialga is incapable of creating a timeline from which he does not exist, making him a being outside of time. Now, both timelines, present and future, are allowed to exist. When present Dialga revived the hero, he also allowed the entire future timeline to remain. In Super Mystery Dungeon, future inhabitants now visit the present world as an alternate universe, not a separate reality, or perhaps their timelines merge when the present caught up with the future sometime between the end of Sky and the beginning of Super. 31. Negative recruitment rates. The level of the leader grants a bonus recruitment rate for reference. Levels 1 to 29 grants nothing, 30 to 39, 5%, 40 to 49, 7.5%, 50 to 59, 10%, 60 to 69, 12.5%, 70 to 79, 15%, 80 to 89, 17.5%, and finally 90 to 100, 24%. Certain Pokemon have negative recruitment rates. For example, Kecleon has a negative 33.9% recruitment rate, and will always be negative unless all of the bonuses are used. Evolved Pokemon tend to have higher or, to be more accurate, lower negative recruitment rates, with some being outright unobtainable in their fully evolved forms, necessitating recruiting their pre-evolutions. Why is that so? Perhaps, as unevolved children themselves, young Pokemon are more likely to idolize and want to join their fellow young Pokemon in a rescue team. The older Pokemon are more set in their ways and, perhaps, have their own children and families to take care of and are, thus, unable to adventure at a whim like they used to. But what of the literal legendary Pokemon? The legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres all have a 30% recruitment rate in some of the games. Most legendary Pokemon are not known to have a family, save for connections with their peers, so they would not be abandoning a youth. Perhaps it is an unspoken respect for a mere common Pokemon to best them in combat. Thus, they pledge their loyalty to their cause and skill. 32. Darkrai from Sky is the Darkrai from the movie. In the special episode 5, Darkrai is revealed to be the mastermind behind all of the events in Pokemon Sky, kicking off his vision for the world, the dark future. When he escapes through his portal and it is destroyed by Palkia, what happens to him? Simply put, he is transported to the world of the Pokemon The Rise of Darkrai movie. The nightmare that the human architect, Godi, references, quote, two entities that should never have met would cross paths in the space-time rift. This sounds eerily similar to the player character in Darkrai, who meet and are entwined with one another in these space-time rifts, and the one that is destroyed with Darkrai in it from Mystery Dungeon. So too does Darkrai lose his memories, his purpose, in this new world like the player character. Without his memories or his hatred, he accepts the kindness of the human Alicia that invited him into the garden, later saving the town and those in it. Far from the selfish personality of its Mystery Dungeon incarnation, it is molded for the good. Was evil and hate its true nature? If not, what caused the Darkrai we know to go down such a destructive path? 33. Team Skull died in Brine Cave. After being attacked in Time, Darkness, and Sky by Kabutops and Omastar in Brine Cave, Skuntank says this is the end, and he and the rest of Team Skull are never seen again after the cave. However, in Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, Team Skull can be found. This is perhaps a result of Super Mystery Dungeon taking place in an alternate timeline wherein similar but not the exact same events have occurred. In this timeline, they do survive. Are there any canon timelines, or are they all equally viable? 34. Pokemon Jail. There are legitimately bad or evil Pokemon in this Pokemon world. A Pokemon jail is canon and is utilized throughout the series. In one iteration, Officer Magnezone and his Magnemite function as police officers, handing out rewards and taking nefarious Pokemon into captivity to pay for their crimes. Where are these thieves and potential murderers housed? And what punishment fits their crimes? Is a term of life in prison or a death penalty an unspoken reality in this world? 35. Multiple legendaries in Super. All known legendary Pokemon appear and are recruitable in Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. The sheer scale of power now at the command of the rescue team is unparalleled, bridging continents, generations, and realities. Perhaps all of these legendaries came to be in these circumstances due to the branching timelines that not only allowed Team Skull to live, but allowed them all to simultaneously exist in such an area. 36. Time and Darkness can connect with Sky. Pokemon Time and Darkness are, essentially, the same game, save for a few differences in Pokemon that can be acquired or recruited, similar to the main series games. This suggests a slight shift in the timeline or realities that would allow some, but not other Pokemon to come to live in these worlds. Explorers of Sky, on the other hand, seems like a unified, more pure version of both timelines of Time and Darkness, and it is with this complete picture that we learn the background for the world in these special episodes, as all of the requirements for the ideal timeline have been met. Buried items, banana. Buried items, such as the bananas found in the walls in this instance, can be found after using a one-room or trawl orb. They fill the belly for 50 points. However, bananas exist in the real world, not the Pokemon one. Yes, there are apples, such as the perfect apple, but the other fruits are comprised of berries, such as the oran or cherry berries. Why are they hidden, and why do they exist here? Their closest Pokemon incarnation is the Nanab berry. The bananas and, to a greater extent, the apples serve as human world adaptations of fruits that exist to link the two realities. The bananas, in particular, only in the timeline of the Red and Blue Rescue Team games. 38. Fantasy Strait, Oddity Cave in the original Red and Blue. Both Fantasy Strait and Oddity Cave can only be accessed by utilizing Wondermail codes. What is Wondermail? Generally, it is a way for players to give missions or rescues to other players via password. Every rescue has a Wondermail password written at the bottom of its description. You simply input the code of the mission before you start the game at the bottom of the menu, and you will have the mission added to your job list. The code works on any and every Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game. You can't use the same code twice in the same game. Fantasy Strait and Oddity Cave, however, are unique in that they are two such examples that unlock new locales. Are the Wondermail codes able to harness a space-time portal between games, locales, and timelines, allowing you to help the protagonist of another or go to unique, otherwise inaccessible or non-existent places to your own? 39. Gabite Scale. In Time and Darkness, a Gabite scale is a scale taken from Gabite, rumored to be a cure-all for all afflictions. It heals many status problems. It also slightly fills the Pokemon's belly. It is given to the rescue team after the Gabite is defeated in battle, and they take it to the Shinx so that his sick sister can be cured. With such a potentially rare cure, could that be a contributing reason as to why Gabite was hostile? How many Pokemon come after it, looking for the same cure, either for a profit or to heal another? What if Gabite has no more loose scales to give, or it is otherwise painful after a point to donate them? Does Gabite attack due to the potential danger, and is it constantly hunted or poached for its rare scales? Its scales, after all, were discovered as a much-traveled rumor. 40. Boss Health Glitch in Red and Blue. In a potentially game-breaking cheat, by placing a reviver seed on the ground, having a boss pick it up, defeating them twice and then recruiting them, we can almost double the amount of health points they have upon them joining the team. This makes the boss Pokemon in the Red-Blue games prohibitively strong, especially when one considers that the majority are legendaries. By abusing a cheat, you are actively manipulating the very properties of life and existence around you. Perhaps Palkia will have to pay you a visit. 41. Grovyle is dead in Time and Darkness. In Sky, we get the special ending in Episode 5, wherein Grovyle and the other future Pokemon die, but are ultimately brought back to life. However, the original Time and Darkness games are far more bleak. While the player character is prevented from disappearing, as the future he or she was from no longer exists, nothing is ever said or done about the other characters. Thus, Grovyle accepted his fate, as he said to Duskenor, and ceased to exist. 42. The meteor from the Delta episode is the meteor in Red and Blue. In both the Delta episode of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and Red and Blue Rescue Team, a massive, world-ending meteor hurls towards the planet. Only Rayquaza can destroy it. The Draconids had overseen this task for countless lifetimes, but without them, this task falls to the human-turned-Pokemon player character and their Pokemon partner to entreat Rayquaza to help and destroy it. Do we not see the meteor in other games and timelines because it is not the right time or generation, or because the meteor is a way to end an alternate branching timeline that deviates from the true one? If so, it appears Rayquaza has a penchant across timelines of preventing such cosmic destruction. 43. Pelipper's don't need rescue to keep their businesses afloat. Throughout all the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, the Pelipper business seems to be thriving. They carry and deliver mail, calls for help from inside actual dungeons themselves at times, and seem to keep the rescue team community and its patrons connected and thriving. If anything, their business seems to be better than ever with the turmoil and disasters that are befalling the Pokemon world around them. Okie dokie, that ends part 1 of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Iceberg. Part 2 is gonna be much longer, and I am still plugging away at it. For now, I hope you enjoyed this little snippet, and we'll continue levels 4 through 8 next time. See ya!